Mr. Trump and Joe Biden pretty much cleaned up in Super Tuesday's state primaries and caucuses.
President Biden has said he's not sure he'd run for president if Donald Trump wasn't running too.
It's going to be a President Biden versus Donald Trump in this November's presidential election.
Welcome to Live Economic News. Join us as we delve into the dynamics shaping the ongoing elections in America. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Based on the 2024 cycle, you might not know that primaries are meant to be political races. The primaries for each party, if you can even call them that, were long lessons in picking winners. This year, the primary process did not happen. For almost 60 years, it has been a popular competition where different groups within each party fought for power, helped shape the party's identity, and eventually made their case to voters. In terms of function, there were two leaders. In a practical sense, neither party's primary provided a useful way for members of the party to voice their disagreements. Tuesday, February 4th, this did not change. Biden and Trump both got a lot of delegates. Most people who voted in a presidential election knew they weren't going to change anything because the outcome was already set. There is an R option and a D choice. During the campaign, we've had many thoughts of American political party leaders as mean lunch ladies who put bland food on trays for a hungry country. You'll enjoy it. But no one really likes it. Poll after poll showed that people did not want Donald Trump and Joe Biden to run against each other again. If our government worked better, people who don't like the two current leaders would be able to voice their opinions, and other candidates would have a chance to make their case known to the public. In ours, this unhappiness didn't change the slow march toward what was going to happen anyway. Leaks to the press show that people from both campaigns have been talking about switching their attention to the general election for a long time. They want voters to have time to fully understand that the election will be between Trump and Biden. Like doctors telling a patient they don't think they will get better, they seemed eager to skip over the formality of having to deal with how little they had satisfied their voters.
I'm well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president, and I put this country back on its feet.
They were ready to get back to the part where they gained more power for themselves. But the fact that both sides are stuck, moving slowly, driven by selfish necessity, and unable to disagree shouldn't make it seem like they are similar. There is now only one political party in the United States. Trump is the only one who causes problems and sets the rules for the political system. The Democratic Party has had a hard time representing all the people who don't like him, and the Republican Party has changed to fit his image. Before Trump, neither party was very strong, and maybe in another world, the primary system would have fallen apart this way even without him. Trump, on the other hand, is so powerful that he broke the primaries and turned every race on both sides into a vote for him.
If this election isn't won, I'm not sure that you'll ever have another election in this country. Does that make sense?
The silly and childish Republican primary race, which was never really a race in the first place, steadily and inevitably narrowed down to just two candidates, Donald Trump and Nikki Haley, whose pointless run was to represent all the hopes for an alternative to Trump. When the other options were taken away, Haley may have gotten more votes than expected. This shows that a small but significant number of Republican voters are unhappy with Trump. There was never a real race in the Republican primary, though. She lost by large scores. When you think back to the beginning of 2023, when some people thought Ron DeSantis might actually have a chance, it seems almost silly now. The months that followed showed what we already knew. As long as Trump is alive, there will never be another Republican primary that is really close. It will always be his as long as he wants to run. He has the whole Republican Party to himself. Not only does Trump not have any real Republican opponents for president, but he also seems to have more or less complete control over all Republican government elected officials' policies. The harsh border and immigration bill that Democrats had agreed to earlier this year was killed by Trump's nod. This wasn't because Trump didn't like the policies, which were a list of violent Republican priorities, but because he wanted to keep using immigration as a political tool in an election year. So, for Donald Trump's own political gain, the Republican Party gave up on one of its long-held goals, making it easier for people to be mean to refugees. Of course, this was a win for the Democrats. They wanted to be able to tell the American people that they tried to give the Republicans all the power and policy. This event and how the Democrats reacted to it are a good example of how the party is now, a frantic and dedicated to obedience. Since Donald Trump's election, and especially after his first term made it clear how cruel, broken, and anti-democratic he could be, the Democratic Party has become the place where the dreams of the new left, from the Women's March to Black Lives Matter, can come together. It was these voters' anger at Trump that helped the Democrats win back the House in 2018. It was these voters' anger at Dobbs that helped the party win an unusual victory in the 2022 midterms. Liberal voters have become more active, but the party has reacted to them with as much excitement as someone who finds something slimy and wriggling under a rock. The party would rather go after moderate and conservative voters who are always behind Trump than try to please this group. They're still a center-right party, which sets them apart from the far-right rivals. They say this is the only way they can win, and this is pretty much the only choice their supporters have. Despite all the bad feelings in the 2020 Democratic primary, the race wasn't really that close. Joe Biden was always seen as the favorite, and his easy win in South Carolina showed that black voters, especially older ones, supported him. But that backing seems to be going away in 2024. Part of the reason it's falling is that Biden has been so condescending and unfriendly to the left's rise. He has said many times that he doesn't like abortion, which is the main issue of his campaign. His government has done a terrible job of dealing with Arab American and pro-Palestinian voters who are angry that Biden supported Israel's murderous war on Gaza. Usually, this would be the time for a left-wing challenger to show up and bring progressive problems to the forefront while also having an impact on the party, even if they couldn't win the ticket. However, the need to beat Donald Trump makes such a race seem too dangerous. Biden has only had one primary opponent, the moderate Dean Phillips. People are worried about his campaign, but they say they are worried about his age and energy. But what's really at stake is how weak the alliance against Trump is. In order to beat Donald Trump and his danger to constitutional democracy, there hasn't been much real political fighting in the Democratic Party or in the country as a whole. Trump, on the other hand, keeps winning. In conclusion, the 2024 American elections have revealed a political landscape marked by deep divisions and shifting alliances. Donald Trump's continued influence over the Republican Party has reshaped its identity while the Democrats struggle to present a unified front against him. This election cycle has highlighted the importance of engaging with political discourse and staying informed about the issues that matter most to us. As we move closer to the election, it is crucial for voters to critically evaluate the policies and promises put forth by candidates on both sides of the aisle. The future of our democracy depends on our ability to hold our leaders accountable and participate actively in the electoral process. What are your thoughts on the 2024 elections? We'd love to hear from you. Like this video if you found it insightful, and don't forget to subscribe for more content on today's most important topics. Thanks for watching.